With Jay Lethal becoming all elite this past weekend, is this our future AEW Black World Champion? We're going to talk about it all in just a sec and more. Stay tuned. This is WrstlXtra.
Yo. This is WrstlXtra. I'm your boy ADazzle, the Black Wrestling Advocate. And of course, I'm next to my tag team partner, Mekz, the WrestleManiac, if you will. Yes, you are watching on the WrestleManiac UK YouTube channel and of course, listening on affinityextra.com. We're going to do things a little different today because we're actually starting with AEW as our subject. That's crazy. I'm always very much, starting with WWE. You know what I mean? And I realized today on the way to the studio, like, hold on, we're actually going to be talking about AEW like most of the show. That's crazy.
Sure.
But yeah, as Mekz said, Jay Lethal, the most decorated wrestler in Ring of Honor history, is now all elite. He literally said AEW is his new home. Straight up said, AEW is my new home. So, for those that don't know, at AEW's Full Gear, their last pay-per-view on Saturday, was it?
Yep.
Tony Schiavone came out. This is very different. I think he's done it once before, but this is very different. Just an announcement, for the sake of an announcement. There was no kind of prelude. There was no Tony Schiavone is going to be making an announcement tonight, or we've got a surprise for you, or something's coming up. None of that. It was literally after. It was America Top Team versus the Inner Circle after that match. Inner Circle, that's right. Tony Schiavone just came out on top of the stage and was like, we're introducing you to our newest member of All Elite Wrestling. Boom. Jay Lethal comes out. The pop was nice. And Jay Lethal categorically said, I am coming for the TNT Championship and I want to face Sammy Guevara on Wednesday on Dynamite. Sammy Guevara, of course, battered, broken, and beaten. Even though, after just winning the match, going through what he went through, that crazy Jeff Hardy style swanton onto Scorpio Sky on the table. Sammy Guevara's come back out and got in Jay Lethal's face, of course, and was like, "You're on. Let's do it." For some strange reason, a whole load of referees came out and tried to separate them. I don't know why, because nothing was about to happen. But that's what we had. And in the press conference, about an hour or so later, Jay Lethal was asked a few questions, of course, and his status on Ring of Honor. Of course, Jay Lethal's been, extremely loyal to Ring of Honor, and he said he won't be at Final Battle, then their last pay-per-view in December for the year. There's this hiatus that they're going on, and said he won't be at Final Battle because AEW is now his new home. Mekz, first question for you. Jay Lethal, as I said, most decorated champion in Ring of Honor history. I think it's 2-time longest reigning combined days as ROH champion. He's won literally every other title as well. Was Jay Lethal the right first signing from ROH specifically?
I would say now from a business point of view, I would say yes.
Okay.
Because if we think about it, he's probably the biggest name over there. Again, because of his work in TNA, because of his work in Impact, because of his work in Ring of Honor, maybe other indies and stuff like that. He is probably the most well-renowned person over there.
Yeah, for sure.
Like you said, his CV, his resume speaks for itself in terms of what he's accomplished, especially in Ring of Honor. So yeah, I would say he is almost the biggest name. Like we've seen the Moxleys come over from WWE.
Right.
He's
Right.
almost the biggest name, if not. Yeah, I'm just confident in what I'm saying. He is the biggest name at Ring of Honor that he could have come over. So in terms of that, it's very good business. I was alluding to on like other media and stuff that I put out over the past weekend, that that he's gonna come in and do the like putting over of the young men and all of that kind of stuff. Until I was rightly corrected by Del Boy of Red Things that this is still a relatively young man.
36 years old.
Yeah, 36 years old. I was here thinking he was 46 or something.
Same age as me. He's young.
Yeah, I was here thinking that this guy was like mid-40s getting on. And when Del corrected me and said he's a year older than Moxley, I said, well, that changes everything then. This isn't
Changes
someone that should be coming in and, okay, he's been here, there, and everywhere, a bit of a journeyman kind of career, and come in to support the young people. No, he is in his prime. So for me personally, that changes a lot of opinions on where he should end up on the card.
It's crazy, because I felt the same way. Didn't realize, he was only 36. I thought he was a little older. And I think for me, the last year or so of Jay Lethal's career has made me feel as though he's a little older.
Yes.
And that's why I asked the question as well. Like, was he the right signing? His age helps us to say yes. But at the same time, his momentum necessarily, his last year, he's 2021, hasn't necessarily been that whole, oh my gosh, I can't wait for Jay Lethal to sign with. It hasn't been that. Every time, whenever we've mentioned this whole thing with ROH, and who is the best wrestler out there that's not signed, to WWE or AEW that would sign with AEW, the first name is always Jonathan Gresham. Always Jonathan Gresham. Then we say Shane Taylor. I don't think I've heard anyone say Jay Lethal.
Yeah. I think Lethal's been mentioned, but definitely, like you're saying, it's behind those names that you're mentioning, the Greshams,
right?
Behind the likes of STP and what he's doing with his faction. Just because these guys are kind of more of the guys making moves now, doing the rounds on the indies and other stuff as well. So I think it's Lethal isn't old, clearly, by his age profile. But maybe, just in terms of activeness, the last year hasn't been, the most active for him. We've got Eno Wrestling in the chat. Big up Gareth for joining us.
Nice.
Lethal is not old, but he is well past his best, and his accusations make it impossible for me to want to watch him in AEW. Wish it was Gresham. Now, the accusation thing is a point, because I literally saw the minute he signed, all of this stuff started popping up on Twitter, and I was like, oh my God. Like, I never even knew this was a thing with him.
Okay.
AEW must have known.
No. Here's the thing. So this wasn't even, I didn't even think about all of this. I think this comment has actually made me remember. Like I knew about everything. I've seen the accusations. I'm sure I've posted about it on occasion as well. But yeah, there's no way they didn't know. But I guess the difference is that the accusations have happened, and whether they've been cleared or just not been followed up may be a difference. Who knows? These accusations are of, sexual harassment or sexual assault, or along those lines, with women who have come out and accused him of different things, the way he's spoken to them, the way he has pushed himself up against them, forcefully and stuff like that. None of them actually kind of came to fruition, or you weren't found guilty, or no one pressed charges necessarily, all that kind of stuff. It's still kind of like an accusation, and there was nothing more to it. You can argue for sure, and even more so in the wrestling business, that some of these ladies were probably scared to come forward because they probably won't be believed or won't be taken seriously. Lethal's probably too well protected, all that kind of thing, which is very unfortunate. But for sure, AEW would definitely know about it. But
Yeah. I think some parties have also kind of said, well, Ring of Honor, obviously they kept Lethal active after these
Yep,
accusations,
there's that as
which,
well.
like you said, it would be like it would be perceived at that point an investigation was done and
Mm-hmm.
nothing was found.
Mm-hmm.
However, at the same time, people have said that Ring of Honor have been known to hide things in the past as well.
Mm, 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 mm,
So, I
mm.
mean, for AEW, which kind of paints itself as, um, very family orientated. That's the one thing
Yeah,
I definitely get from AEW, and making
yeah.
everyone feel comfortable, wanted, etc., etc.
Mm-hmm.
This is literally like a curveball. Like you said, you knew of all this stuff at the time when he's the speaking out and
Mm-hmm.
it all came out. I didn't even see this. I didn't know this was a thing.
Mm-hmm.
So when I'm seeing
Mm-hmm.
extracts of people posting things online on Saturday night, like
Right.
my jaw
Wow.
was on the ground. Like
Wow.
this was me seeing someone literally just get signed, and it's like, oh my god, don't sign him. He's XYZ.
Right.
So I
Right.
was like, yeah, I don't know where I stand with all of this.
I mean, to answer my initial question to you about was he the right first person? Yeah, age, as we said, is not necessarily a factor. But I think Eno Wrestling with his comment was quite correct in the fact that I believe, as much as in age wise, or generally he's not past his prime in terms of his age, there's still so much in that, a long career, at least another 10 years he can probably go for. I just feel as though the momentum just isn't there for me to. I wasn't excited in the sense of, oh my gosh. It was more kind of, okay, kind of good business. It's clever. I wasn't overly excited. I wasn't excited by it. It's good business. He's going to bring something. And here's the difference as well, though. Here's the other difference as well. When coming from Ring of Honor. Okay, let me go back a little bit. So when we were talking about Ricochet last week, and we were talking about what he can actually do, and obviously he's had to be watered down because he's in WWE. If he went to AEW, we'd see a different Ricochet. With Jay Lethal, you're gonna see the same guy.
Yeah.
Ring of Honor is not watered down, so this isn't necessarily like a new lease of life in that respect. He's still gonna be the same guy. So with the, I guess, lack of momentum that he's had, let's be very real. He's been second fiddle to John Gresham, even in the foundation, even in Ring of Honor.
100%.
Which is a massive thing for Jonathan Gresham, because Jay Lethal would have had to almost agree to do that. You know what I mean? Being in the position that he's in, he could, more or less do what he wants when it comes to Ring of Honor. So it's great for Jonathan Gresham, but he was basically second fiddle. And while Jonathan Gresham was doing all this stuff with the Pure Championship and carrying the foundation and adding more people, it wasn't Jay Lethal adding more people. It's Jonathan Gresham adding more people. So it kind of feels as though I don't know whether the big announcement is hard. It's hard, bro, because the accolades are correct. You mentioned the accolades are correct. He's the most well-known, or very well-known, as I've said, the most accomplished Ring of Honor star that there has been. Yeah, but I guess the momentum just isn't the thing.
So maybe having said that, obviously the momentum isn't quite there. He is probably someone that has a great CV, but nothing much within the last year has happened, especially taking into consideration as well, the speaking out stuff around his name as well. Maybe he is actually being brought in, despite his age profile, he's being brought in as an elder statesman, and he won't be given a high profile role, but he will be given a role to help the younger talents, put over the younger talents. Like we were all celebrating at the watch party when he made his debut, and I literally turned around and in a tongue-in-cheek manner, but I meant it. I said, well, he's not beating Sammy.
and that's the other question I was going to ask. Like, he's facing Sammy Guevara for the TNT Championship. Is he winning? We've answered the question. It's not happening.
Chance. Zero.
But here then highlights the other problem with AEW is
what
we're bringing in these people and giving them title shots straight away, which then we know they're not going to win. Why bother? Build him to it, maybe. I'm not okay. Maybe it's to put over Sammy. It's to put over. Well,
yeah.
it is to put over Sammy. Of course, it is.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing for him. That's a very good thing for him. But then what do we do with Jay Lethal after that? That's where the problem actually comes. You're giving the high profile straight away, and we've done. Ricky Starks is a bit of a victim of the same thing. I would say Lance Archer is definitely a victim of a very similar thing. There's been others, Brian Cage, where they brought them in big time straight away, and if they're saying that the TNT Championship isn't a secondary championship, it's kind of as big as. We're doing the same thing here. What then happens with Jay Lethal after that?
Yeah, it's a bit of a difficult one, because I think he could lose respectively to Sammy, and maybe go off and it's kind of how like Christian has attached himself to the Jungle Express faction, Jurassic Express faction. He might go off and kind of attach himself to one person or a couple people. Wouldn't be surprised if the likes of Leo Rush try to maybe get him involved in what he's doing, or maybe this is a bigger plan where, I don't know, he might get a couple other maybe younger talents from Ring of Honor to do like some type of faction thing on Dark or Elevation or Rampage or something like that. Wrestling asks here, what do you think his ceiling is in AEW? And I mentioned at the top of the show, this very much is the candidate on paper that in terms of accolades could be world champion. I don't think he's gonna be world champion.
I do not see that happening. And this is another reason why when he came out, I wasn't excited, because I'm not thinking, oh my gosh, he could possibly win the world championship. Nah.
I think we've seen Tony Khan's plan in terms of they fully planned these first 4 champions. I have no doubt he's probably planned his next 4 champions already.
Of course.
They're not going to just insert somebody into that plan without mass name value. Even Punk and Brian have had to go through the rigorous process of getting wins and all of that kind of stuff. Jay Lethal ain't someone that's going to skip the queue. I'm sorry.
No.
Even the TNT Championship, like I was saying to these guys on Saturday, Jay, they've got a plan. Jay isn't going to be the person that's going to come in and they're going to scupper whoever's plan and whoever's run to just make him TNT champion. And if they did that for the TNT or the AEW World title, we're all going to stand up and wave our tokenism flags and be like, okay, yeah, you heard us, but this isn't the way to do it.
I think I'm going to get a tokenism flag.
Bro, they're selling fast on eBay. You better catch one now. like we've all been saying, the representation thing is needed, but it's not break glass in case of emergency, pull out Jay Lethal and then make him champion. As a AEW fan, I do not want to see that, because it's undeserved. You're making everyone else go through a process. If you're gonna make him a champion, put him through the same process as everybody else. But still, to answer the Wrestling's question, I think TNT title, the max is his ceiling.
At some point, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know who with, but maybe something like that. I mean, for me, as you're saying what you're saying, it kind of makes me think of the other former Impact talent or former X Division talent that is in AEW now, Frankie Kazarian, Christopher Daniels, those kind of guys. Like, yeah, we love them in their prime, and they bring a level of nostalgic value, and not in the sense of they're old men, almost, but
older men.
Yeah, older men. Yeah. Not in like the Goldberg, he's too old, or the Undertaker, he's too old type of thing. But we're not seeing them then become, singles champions, anytime soon. And I'm sure we won't see that at all. I think Jay Lethal kind of fits in that same bracket, unfortunately. So it's a very difficult one. To go back a little bit as well, Wrestling in his first comment said he wish it was Gresham. Now, we have just found out, I think it was just yesterday, Ring of Honor, Jonathan Gresham defeated Brody King and is now literally the #1 contender for the Ring of Honor World Championship. Current champion is Bandito. And the match is set for Final Battle. Their final show. of the year and possibly ever. Even though we're talking about this hiatus, which we don't really think is going to happen, and also as well, that's based on something that Jay Lethal even said as well in his interviews and that as well. You tell me what's going to happen. You tell me what's going to happen on that night, bro.
Gresham's going to be champion for one night. Him and Jordan Grace, he's going to have a hell of a night, and yeah, they're going to have to maybe come back in April, and when they're planning their next event, and see, is that Super Card of Honor that they do in April?
Super Card of Honor, yes, I believe it is.
And yeah, we'll see if they kind of continue it from there, or whether it's literally like a new start. They scrap everything, and there's going to be a new champion crowned. But I do expect Gresham to pick it up on the last day in December,
on the final night. So just as Gerard Bonner predicted about two shows ago, that we will get a new Ring of Honor champion on the final day of Ring of Honor's existence. I'm sorry I sound so defeatist when it comes to this hiatus. I just really don't see anything more happening afterwards, but who knows. But he's going to win it on the final show. He'll have no contract. He'll have nowhere to go, nothing to do after that. So to me, we're going to see Jonathan Gresham as a Ring of Honor champion turn up at AEW with that.
You think that's going to happen?
Possibly with that belt in his hand. I believe that's what's going to happen. And I think AEW would be very silly not to try and make that happen. They need to start negotiations from now.
Literally, I would like to think they've spoken to Gresham.
I mean, even the detail of him coming with the Ring of Honor Championship as well. Not just signing him when his contract's done in December, or when he's not getting paid anymore, but more so the details of it. Where that goes from there, I haven't even thought that far. Who he then, challenges, or who comes out to challenge him, and who his next matches are, and all that kind of stuff. I haven't got that far. But I believe it will be a thing where he's going to win it, going to beat Bandido. I think he deserves it, for one. It's a nice little story to end, a bit of a cliffhanger, maybe something for them to feel as though it's giving fans a reason to come back and see what happens if they do come back in April. But I think it needs to happen like that. It would be a missed opportunity if that doesn't happen.
I think it's a hell of a way to keep Ring of Honor's name alive, by Gresham going over there with the title, even if he's just has like a kind of one feud with someone in the meantime, in between that time, between January and April or something like that. And I kind of trust AEW, especially with all the kind of work they've done with taking people in from the indies, giving them like showcase matches on Dynamite, Dark, etc. I kind of trust them to actually want Ring of Honor to stay alive and come back in April, and because it helps the whole ecosystem of wrestling. So getting Gresham over with the title, keeping Ring of Honor's name alive, I think it's only a plus. Again, someone that we all want to see probably permanently in AEW. At least, this could be a good starting point before he makes a kind of final decision as to where he will end up. Wrestling here in the chat says, some have speculated he'll go to Impact, but I want him and Jordan in AEW desperately. That's Jordan Grace, his missus.
Of course.
Big talents should definitely, like we've said, Gresham over Jay Lethal would have been the call we probably all wanted.
Oh no, of course, that's what we wanted.
Yeah, so yeah, we'll see.
I think Eno's right. Wrestling is right with wanting to see Jordan Grace and Jonathan Gresham in the same place. I think them two working together will be very interesting, even just down to what we see or what we get to see on social media, down to like their photo shoots that they've had together, all that kind of stuff. I think that their chemistry would be amazing as that power couple would be phenomenal. So to see Gresham go to Impact would be very interesting. Where Whether Jordan Grace goes to AEW is a completely different story. That's contracts and all the rest of it. She hasn't got that freedom in the same sense as that Gresham does at the moment.
Jordan Grace recently re-signed with Impact, didn't she? Maybe like last year or something.
Was it? I think it may have been at the start of this year, if not, last year. And I believe it was a 2-year contract. I can't remember. Okay. I think it was. I think it was a 2-year contract. So she's there for the foreseeable future. But who knows? I mean, like I said, the only way to see them two together would be for Jonathan Gresham to go to Impact. And definitely not. Yeah, definitely not Jordan Grace in AEW. But we'll see. We'll see. It's making this whole thing a little bit more interesting. Here's a quick thing to actually to throw in before we move to the next topic as well. Even with Jay Lethal even said himself that he decided to end his contract a few days early just so he could get signed somewhere else. That again to me says he wasn't necessarily in demand.
Yeah,
he had to make his face known or put himself out there a little bit to say, "Hi, I'm here, guys. Come and save me."
Come and save me. Yeah, so I mean,
as I said, momentum-wise, it's not the greatest thing, but on paper, of course, with the accolades and all the rest of it, let's see what they do. Whether they use that, to their advantage, which they can do in some way, but it's gonna be a bit of a struggle. It wasn't the first one we expected or wanted and all that kind of stuff. So we'll see.
Yeah, like I said, when it was announced, I very much felt, before I was educated otherwise about his age, I very much felt that this is an older statesman giving that kind of last hurrah, that last big contract. And we're going to see some great matches with some great young talent. And then, obviously, like I say, I found out his age. And then I found out his past. And then I'm just like literally right now, I'm just in complete disarray. All I know that is for certain, he is losing to Sammy tomorrow night. That's all I know. And then we vibes from there. And then next week we'll find out what happens with him. Yes,
and you know what?
NK's jumped in the chat.
NK's jumped in, and his timing is brilliant because NK tweeted and added me on Twitter the other day and was like, "Bro, you need to go and watch Lio Rush and Dante Martin versus Lee Moriarty and Matt Sydal. I think you will like this." We know if you watch this show enough, me and NK, we've got this little, our feud going on. It's a bit of a WWE versus AEW type of thing. But NK just knew that if I watch this match,
great match,
I was going to be interested and all the rest of it. Bro, when I say that opening exchange with Lee Moriarty and Dante Martin, I'm not even going to lie to you when I say he brought a tear to my eye. I was like, yo, like, this is it. And as much as it was there was a little bit more focus on Lio Rush's debut, rightly so, as in his Dynamite debut, should I say. For me, I would definitely say I was more interested in it being about Dante Martin and Lee Moriarty. And what they would do in this match. It was interesting to see what Lio Rush was going to do because he's obviously been, he's been about for about a month or so and he's been talking his big talk, and now we get to see him in action and, put his money where his mouth is, so to speak. And he did that. He always does. He always does. That guy always shows out. Lio Rush is... You can depend on him to have a great match, regardless of who his opponent is, what the stipulations are, what's going on, what the story is, all the rest of it. He puts on a great match. But for me, it was more about Moriarty and Martin. You tell me how you saw them two in this match and what you think it means. Does it give you confidence as to what happens with these two, or was it just right? This was just a nice moment for the duration of the match.
I saw someone say this, and I actually saved the tweet, but I've had an issue with my laptop this week, and I've lost certain things on my desktop. But anyway, so unfortunately, I can't give credit to who tweeted it. But it was basically along the lines of, man need to stop saying 4 pillars. Car, there's more than 4 pillars. in this company.
Don't get me started on this. Don't get me started on
Like
that.
someone pointed out, Leo Rush is younger than all of these men that are the four pillars. Obviously we know Dante Martin's as a young man. I'm not sure. Do you know how old Lee Moriarty is?
I believe he's younger than Leo Rush as well. I can't remember exactly how
so
old
he's probably about somewhere between 20 and 23 then years
I
old.
believe so.
I mean, not to compare them to the four pillars, but this match was just fantastic. Just seeing these guys mix it up. And shout out to Matt Sydal, who obviously is the older statesman around these guys, and obviously did his part in, you know, kind of putting this match together. Lee Moriarty wrestles like he is like 35 years old. Like in terms of his technical ability, how he puts together sequences and stuff like that, he's wrestling beyond his years.
Yeah.
Dante Martin, I keep saying it on the timeline again, like Darius must be at home, like looking at his leg and be like, are you going to fix yourself and let me get back to work? Car little bro's running around, like making it look like we don't need this tag team no more.
Right.
He's literally taken the baton and he's run with it, sort of thing. He's gone. He's flown with it, in fact, off the top rope, and he's gone. Like, these lot are too sick. And then obviously now we've got Leo Rush around these guys that is a much more, even in his young age, a much more experienced talent, helping these guys, you know, putting together certain things, especially in the promo section of things. The young talent on AEW in general is just a joy to see, especially when we're very used to conditioned watching WWE and just seeing them bring back old man after old man, you know. But like we can't, four pillars, they need to call themselves the four something else. You see what I mean? Because this company has too many pillars. Like there's going to be too many man that's going to be pushing this company forward. As long as they all stay around and, you know, that kind of they're all cultivated in the right way. Like the emphasis on youth here is incredible.
Just to say real quickly, Liam Moriarty is actually 27.
Okay, so he's older than them.
Yeah, he's older than them. Which makes sense of how great he is technically and stuff. But at the same time, you know, he's still got a hell of a lot of time to do a lot of things. To talk about this four pillars thing, bro, I'm just, I ain't gonna lie, I'm just seething when it comes to that thing. It hurts to know that we have been, you know, campaigning and making aware that, you know, AEW doesn't seem to be pushing the black talent in the same way, and then MJF comes out and gives these men a name, almost to solidify our own assumptions of MJF, Darby Allin, Jungle Boy, and who was the fourth one again? Sammy Guevara.
Darby Allin, Guevara,
as these four guys that have been consistently pushed from the off, even calling them some, you know, quote unquote, somewhat homegrown AEW talent.
Yeah.
And then we see Dante Martin, we see Leo Rush, and there's no mention of no one else, bro. I'm just like,
you know what?
You do that.
The four pillars chat literally started maybe just before Leo Rush got his hands on Dante Martin, and all of these men have all kind of just came through. Even just Lee Moriarty was signed around that time as well. I just want to go to the comments. I see some comments flying in. Jamie, big up Jamie, says Leo Rush is lightning quick.
Of course.
NK says Lee Moriarty is money. They need to invest in him heavy. Eno Wrestling, Gareth says Dante Martin is a great athlete, but his technical game is slept on. Dante versus Moriarty will be a generational feud, hopefully. I can see that.
I want to see that, definitely.
NK says the four pillars thing isn't exactly about age. It's because they were at the company since the beginning. That makes sense.
Yeah. I don't deny that at all. Yeah,
that makes sense. Although age profile wise, them man are all about the same age, like between 24, 25-ish or something. But yeah, they are kind of originals in that sense. Jamie says, who's black in AEW that you AEW you want pushed so much?
So Jamie doesn't obviously watch or listen to the show that often, because the one name that comes up every single time is Ricky Starks. And if it's not Ricky Starks, who else would it be? If there's an argument with Ricky Starks, just switch off now, because there is no way you can deny Ricky Starks as, you know, and as NK said, it's not necessarily about age. Ricky Starks is older than most of those guys. So it's not necessarily about the age thing. So Ricky Starks is that guy. Also, with, you know, the mention of Will Hobbs, you know, the name Will Hobbs always comes up in these types of conversations.
Yeah.
Yes, we'd said Scorpio Sky, but we kind of know that ain't really going to happen anymore. So we've kind of given up our hopes, I guess, in wanting to see that happen, because we just know it's not going to. Even though he still has an argument in terms of his abilities. He still has an argument to be someone like who could have easily been put in that position. Or something similar. Dante Martin is now a name you can throw in there. Still young, but there's time. So, you know, there are names. And the unfortunate thing is, the reason why that question's asked, you know, which black blah blah blah, is simply because AEW have not decided to push a black person, so we're not thinking about those people. If it wasn't the fact that the AEW bosses decided to choose Darby Allin or to choose so and so, we wouldn't be talking about them.
Yeah.
It's not simply their talent was so far over everyone else's that we were like, it has to be them. It was because they were put in front of us. And I don't deny any of them. All four of them are great and they need to be pushed. It's not about saying that they shouldn't be where they are. It's not about that in the slightest. They all have amazing characteristics. None of them are complete pro wrestlers. Don't tick every single box, but they tick more than enough boxes to be pushed in the way that they have been. Don't deny that for a second. But to think that there's been no one at all of black origin, or, you know, there's been the argument on Twitter that, you know, Sammy Guevara is white Hispanic. I don't know. That's a little bit unfair for me. But at the same time, because there are literally no black wrestlers at all, and to then give them a name and to has that it's that part for me that kind of hurts, because while it was our assumptions, while it was us making it a thing, they've now solidified it as a thing.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
So
I think I mean, with the 4 pillars thing, I don't read much into it apart from a bit of like a marketing kind of thing. It's pretty much the same as maybe what WWE do with 4 horsewomen. They've never really addressed them as 4 horsewomen in terms of putting them all on screen together in some type of gang. This is just literally like, these are the guys that, you know, are young talents that we're gonna they're going to lead the company forward and stuff like that. I know we're talking about the men's division, but I would argue in terms of, you know, black stars that they have pushed Jade Cargill.
For sure.
Now, whether we can argue how the push is going, is the push the right one, and what could change and stuff like that, of course, there's always room for discussion in terms of that. But I think with Jade, the issue is, they haven't let her off her leash. And again, we know she is green, but I think sometimes you just, you know, we've built her to the point she's number 1 contender. So we're going to have to let her off her leash sometime, guys. I just think it's just having a bit more faith. Like, this whole talk in general, for those that don't know, it started with us saying that, you know, Darby and all of these other guys, they just generally get more TV time than the likes of the Ricky Starks and stuff. And 100%, I think Jamie said that in the chat somewhere that Ricky Starks has been injured, and we know he's recovering, and they're still managing to put him on TV and commentary roles and stuff like that, giving him stuff to do in the meantime. But all of these guys and girls, like, even if we're talking about the 4 pillars, they need to do, and it looks like they're doing something more with Jungle Boy in terms of developing him, because character-wise, he is probably behind the other members of the 4 pillars. So it's all about just being even with the talent you have, working out how you're going to push them, giving them that time with the mic, letting them develop and stuff like that. We're just saying that we don't think that these 4 pillar man should just be given the mic and given all the opportunities and run off, and everyone else is just left to kind of scrap. But
Right.
I have a faith, especially like we've seen Dante Martin in recent
Mm-hmm.
weeks alongside Lio Rush. Lee Moriarty has literally went from being signed like Dark, okay, I'm jumping over that, and I'm coming on to Dynamite, making impressions. Everyone's making impressions, sort of thing. So much so now it's the likes of these men have jumped over the likes of Will Hobbs. Will Hobbs may even be behind Hook right now because people are loving Hook. So like, it's like you gotta just take your opportunities when they come, sort of thing. But time is on all of these man's side. So I guess somewhat, although we're expecting, we just have to be patient at the same time.
Yeah. No, that's very true. It's not a thing that happens overnight. And at the same time, if it happened overnight, we'd be questioning why it happened overnight.
Yeah.
Again, the tokenism flag would get waved. There was something that happened. I think I don't think I saw this properly. So you maybe have to educate me here. But there's something that happened with Dante Martin and Team Taz.
So, I was a bit on the fence with this, to be honest, because I didn't think so. They were saying that Lio Rush obviously wasn't present at Rampage because his grandmother had passed away.
Okay.
So they're all sending their well wishes, but at the same time, Team Taz on commentary were using this as an opportunity. Well, Leo's not here, so let's kind of step in and see if we can acquire Dante Martin as a talent to Team Taz. And they were very much saying, like, don't do that. His grandmother has just passed away, etc., etc. So this is something we will see in WWE, blurring these lines, but like it's blurring the wrong lines because someone's actually lost their life here, and it's like maybe a bit too soon to be doing something like this. And they were very much like, well, Leo's not here. Ricky Starks came. There was a contract, like literally, like. They handed Will Hobbs, I think it was, handed Dante Martin a contract, which he didn't decline or anything on the spot. Hook offered Dante Martin whatever snack he was eating, some potato chips or something like that, to try and like smooth over the deal. And Ricky Starks was literally shouting on the mic, like, sign it, read the contract, join us, all that kind of stuff. So we'll see, obviously, expecting Lio Rush back over the next week or so. We'll see how that plays out. But we just kind of jumped into a bit of a storyline, which, like I say, we haven't really seen. AEW are usually very respectful with illness, death, all of these kind of serious matters. So it's just kind of weird, I guess, to see something like this play out.
That does sound very weird. Okay, fair enough. That happened.
Yeah.
I'm guessing maybe it's just an opportunity to pull off a one-off match. Maybe I don't know whether that's going to have any kind of substance moving forward. I can't see Dante Martin with Team Taz. I can't even see a feud with Team Taz. Because in my mind, we've got Dante Martin kind of teetering on the heel or being a babyface with a heel in Lio Rush. Lio Rush is clearly a heel at the moment. And Dante Martin kind of not knowing what to do next. To then have a heel in Lio Rush feud with heel Team Taz kind of doesn't make much sense. But okay, we'll see what happens.
We'll see. Yeah.
Whatever. Let's jump our way over to WWE. Survivor Series is coming up. I'm going to say it straight up. I'm not overly excited by it at all. I think I saw yourself, Mekz, mention on Twitter, I think it was probably yesterday or over the weekend, that this whole Survivor Series thing, especially the traditional 5-on-5 match and this whole brand battle, is a little pointless. Give me your reasons why. How are you feeling about some Survivor Series in general? Like, where's your head at?
They don't care about Survivor Series. So again, why should we care? I've read that like a couple years back, Vince wanted to take Survivor Series out the calendar. Like, it just doesn't have that whole team versus team thing, and it was his people around him, maybe the Pritchards and all of these people, that said, "Oh no, keep it in. It's one of those traditional ones." It's just they're blaming it. They're blaming all the lack of build and all of that. They're blaming the fact that WWE had the Saudi show. or even before that, WWE had the draft, then they had the Saudi show, then the draft went into effect. They had to establish the stars on each show, and then they now have Survivor Series. So that's why it hasn't really been promoted somewhat. That's why the likes of the teams was announced on Twitter on a Saturday night. Like, it's... Bro, you control this, you know. This is your company. It's like you're here pointing and blaming people. Oh, we had to do a draft. We had to do this.
Right.
You had to take Saudi money. You control all of this. You actually control all of this. And I just think it's just very tired, very lazy. They have a 3-hour show, man. They have a 3-hour show on a Monday. How can't have you found time to build this pay-per-view?
I struggle, bro, because I tried to give it a little bit of leeway after this whole announcement of teams on Twitter. And I thought to myself, right, and they've kind of trying to do this, but it's falling so flat. There was still time to build something or change around things and whatever else, or use the next week or two to make something of it. So yeah, they've done that with, you know, Bobby Lashley now on Team Raw because he beat up Dominic Mysterio, and Austin Theory's now in the team because Bobby Lashley beat up Rey Mysterio.
Let me stop you right there. Let me stop you right there. Last week, they came out and said, "Oh, Dominic Mysterio, you can't be on the team because you're not a former WWE champion. So I'm gonna get my man to bad you up and take your place." Bobby Lashley did that.
So why was he announced in the first place?
Exactly. That's one. Two, Rey Mysterio, a former WWE champion, was taken out of the Survivor Series match this weekend for Austin Theory. Not a former WWE champion.
Not even a former NXT champion, for goodness sake.
You lot don't care. You actually don't care about this. I literally watch this now. It's because I just want to watch wrestling. It's just something to watch.
Like, fill in the time.
Yeah, like I was saying, there's no stakes to any of these matches or anything. Biggie's about to take a loss very early into his title reign to Roman Reigns. For what reason? Now, it doesn't matter how, you know, the date of his when he acquired the title. He's probably always going to lose to Roman Reigns. But there is literally like nothing. Not even the traditional, let me run in and with my SmackDown shirt on or my Raw shirt on and beat you up. There has been nothing, bro.
That's not gonna. That was never. It never happened last year. So that was never going to happen this year. And again, like we said, with most of these people only just reaching those brands that they're supposed to be representing now. Literally only just went there 3 weeks ago. Literally. You know, how did Aaliyah make it into the SmackDown women's team? Aaliyah, who? You know, and yes, there was no Naomi in the team, but at the same time, you can kind of use that as part of the whole Sonya Deville doing everything and part of that story. You can use that, but at the same time, that's still a bit dead for me in my mind.
Bro, Aaliyah made it into the team without having a match on SmackDown. She literally got called up and made it into the team. She then had a match on SmackDown this past week and then got taken out of the team. What makes sense on this show?
I'm telling you now, like over the weekend, I was away on the weekend. That's a rest up. I had a very busy week. It's a very good week, but a very busy one. I needed a rest up on the weekend, and I didn't do none of my review posts nor the rest of it. And the crazy thing is, I didn't feel as if I missed anything.
You didn't.
With WWE specifically, the indie stuff, I'm a little bit annoyed. I didn't get to push certain things, but with the WWE stuff specifically, I don't feel as if I missed anything, bro. And I'm just like, if it wasn't for me doing journalism right now, I would not care. I would not be paying no mind to it at all. The one little thing that I do like is just a simple correlation between Roman Reigns, Xavier Woods, and Big E, and you know the whole Bloodline and New Day thing. But even for me, with what they did on Raw, you can argue it. I mean, obviously the Usos are facing Randy Orton and Riddle, and obviously they had like a 6-man tag thing that happened, and then Big E beat up the Usos or something like that. I don't even really know. I just watched the highlights and didn't even pay much mind to that either. I'm just like, I don't don't get it. I don't get it. Let's just hurry up and get past this because it's pointless. I'm excited to see what the Big E Roman Reigns match is going to look like, but apart from that, I don't care about anything else at all.
GG says here, Survivor Series could have been Bloodline versus New Day, but they rushed it too soon. Yeah, I think they done that match early because it was Raw was clashing with some like American football match, so they put this match on Raw.
And then CM Punk just arrived at AEW as well.
Well, yeah, chasing ratings. Yeah, 100%.
All that.
Rashad Lee says the only good Survivor Series was when NXT was thrown in there.
Yep.
Still didn't mean anything but good. I would agree that was the last good Survivor Series.
That was amazing.
2019.
Yeah, that was absolutely amazing, to be honest. In every way that it was built, the invasions, or the action between all of them, and all of that was phenomenal. The way both the women's and the men's matches went on the night, apart from Walter being eliminated first. Apart from that, everything about that was phenomenal. To then not use them the following year, I think it was the telltale sign of it kind of just not meaning anything anymore. And we've not seen, we don't care about any of these title versus title matches. Yes, they've tried with Becky Lynch and Charlotte, but even that's kind of felt, I don't know.
But we've seen it. That's the problem. We've actually seen Becky and Charlotte ample amount of times. There's no real reason to see it. I mean, if there's one kind of story playing out in Survivor Series, it's actually what's happening between Bianca Belair and Doudrop. Like Doudrop clearly wants Bianca Belair's head because Bianca Belair is getting too many opportunities, this, that, and the other. And she said to her on Raw that, okay, like I'm not going to attack you during your match on Raw, but I'm going to be watching your Survivor Series match. So is Doudrop going to cost Bianca Belair her place in the team or cost her a pinfall at Survivor Series? I guess we'll see. But that is probably the only story we're telling here. Like Seth Rollins is going after Big E. There's stories, but they're ignoring them because of the Survivor Series is in the way. Like,
I think it's not even that, I think it's more there are stories here, and we could see, and I've said this a couple of weeks ago, we could see Seth Rollins get involved in the Big E match, and it could be the reason why Big E loses or whatever. It could happen. There are stories that can be told or are being told, but at the same time, we don't care. They've all gone so flat. We just don't care. And I think it's as simple as that. As much as the Survivor Series stories, the traditional matches are very difficult to tell because people have only just got to their respective brands. All the other stories that can still be told, we just don't care. I don't know. Let's just hurry up and get past this Survivor Series. As with a lot of WWE's pay-per-views this year, stories and build-ups have been weak, but matches have been good on the night. Matches have been good on the night. So let's hope that happens in some way with a couple of those matches. Apart from that, there's nothing else to look forward to. I don't see what we're going to get. I don't know what we're going to get afterwards. We're going to get a completely different... It's like we're going to get something completely different that's not going to follow on from anything after Survivor Series, and it's simple as that. And
they've obviously, as we know, they've removed the December pay-per-view. It's going to be on January 1st now, called Day One, I think someone said.
Day one.
I mean, like you said, the men and women will handle their job between the ropes, and that's all they can do. Deliver good matches as they do. It's just the story and getting us invested to get there. For me, I was saying earlier today, I don't even see this as a top Big Four pay-per-view anymore.
Oh, no.
For me, it's Rumble, WrestleMania, SummerSlam, and in recent times, Money in the Bank has probably slipped in there. So yeah, it is what it is. But
WWE logic is just something else, man. Pro wrestling logic in general is just something else. Sometimes I just don't understand half of it. I don't know what it is that keeps me watching. I don't know. Sometimes I don't know, bro. I really don't. We've got a few minutes, and there was something that propped up just before we were about to do the show, actually, that I noticed. Maybe about 2 or 3 hours before the show, we saw Bobby Stevenson, the brother of the Olympic gold medalist Gable Stevenson, post a picture of himself with the name. What was the name again? I completely forgot. Something Kemp.
Is it Devon Kemp?
Damon Kemp. So he posted is a picture of himself with the name Damon Kemp coming soon. He's also changed his Instagram handle to Damon Kemp, which clearly shows us that his new name is Damon Kemp. So he was not immune from the NXT name change.
Yeah,
as always happens and has happened to literally everyone that has come into NXT this year and in previous years as well. But it also basically, solidifies the fact that we are not going to have the Stevenson brothers. I was going to say the Gable brothers. Wow, the Stevenson brothers will not be a team in the immediate future. There's no correlation between them. There's going to be no kind of these two are brothers. We kind of knew that from when Gable Stevenson was drafted to Raw for some strange reason. But now it's like it's set in stone. Like why? Again? This whole thing. What's going, Mekz? What's going? Help me, please. What's going on?
I think this is just WWE continuing to not want to align the new stars or the guys they're bringing through with their high-profile family. We saw this happen with Bron Breakker. They refused to mention he's a Steiner, despite him doing Steiner moves, despite him having the siren at the beginning of his entrance music, despite him looking like his dad, despite his ring gear. No, but in name, we're not going to call him anything to do with Steiner. We've seen them do it with Solo Sikoa, which is another Jey Uso. I forget what his name is. I think he might be John or Josh or Josh, maybe. I can't. He's a Jey Uso like the rest of them anyway.
He's an Uso.
But they don't want to acknowledge who his brothers are. Even though the crowd are out there screaming Uso every time he steps out. And Gable hasn't even made his debut yet, but of course he is, like you said, the higher profile brother right now. He's the Olympic gold medalist, and they don't want his brother Damon Kemp. You said
Damon Kemp.
Yeah, they don't want him to have anything to do with him, which, like, I think it's a good thing that let these guys build their name themselves.
That's true.
But at the same time, this is wrestling. This is the reality era. Like, we're not stupid. We are definitely not stupid. Like, they can be brothers. They can have the same name. Just don't put them on the same roster, on the same show, in the same feud until you're ready to do that. Like, they can still build off their own name or whatever the case is. We all know who they're related to because we're speaking about it. So, trying to pull the wool over our eyes again, I guess.
And that's the problem. It's not so much them still doing the kayfabe thing because we're now in this era where we know everything. The kayfabe thing is still fine. It's entertainment. We know what it is. Let's not pretend like it should be anything else. They don't pretend like it's something else. So that's cool. But yeah, it's this whole new name and then trying to pretend as if there's no correlation or trying to avoid mentioning it and all that kind of stuff. It's just weird. Solo Sikoa, like, it's just weird. Just call him what
the problem is they do, so it's like hard work on their half to try and avoid it.
Right.
We all know we don't even care. This is to the fact where the likes of Adam Cole was going to move to the main roster and they were going to remove Cole from his name because people might get confused with Michael Cole. They might think him and Michael Cole are related. Michael Cole doesn't even wrestle. Like, are you being serious? Is this what's keeping you lot up at night? You lot got bigger problems than this,
Adam Cole, the son of Michael. Wow, imagine. They probably would have tried to do that at some point.
You're literally overthinking it. Like, just keep it basic.
It doesn't make any sense. But at the same time, as you alluded to, a little bit of a light at the end of the tunnel, or a little bit of hope for Bobby Stevenson may be the fact that, I don't know, it's still going to happen actually, that he's not going to be in the shadow of his brother. That's always,
Yeah.
but that's always gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
That's always gonna happen. He has to make a name for himself. No, you've given him a new name. You've already given him a name for himself.
Yeah, literally.
It's crazy to me. I'm excited to see what he does and what he's about and all the rest of it and what he's going to do on NXT. But I think it is, for me, a missed opportunity for me, in the sense where, yes, Gable Stevenson's come from being an Olympic champion, but to throw him straight on Raw, I don't care how good he actually is. I would have rather have seen him come through the ranks of NXT, even if it was just for a year. Him and his brother do whatever him and his brother do, and then maybe they part ways, or they have a little feud before they part ways, or whatever it is. It's going to be interesting to see whether we see, obviously, Stevenson do his thing on Raw eventually. Damon Kemp now do his thing on NXT, and then if Bobby Stevenson then moves to the main roster, whether they'll put them together or will he still be Damon Kemp? And Damon Kemp on SmackDown, Gable Stevenson on Raw. If they end up on the same roster, you know, are we gonna have two different guys that look like brothers and are brothers
but have different surnames?
What?
They're working far too hard at this, bro. Like I said, this is way easier than they are, you know, putting their heads together and thinking, trademarking names and all of this kind of stuff. Like, you need to just relax, let people be who they are, and trust me, everything else will follow. Like, but here we are.
This is where we're at. And with that said, this is the end of the show.
Pro wrestling, guys.
Hey, this is what we love. Hey,
trust.
Oh, my folks, this has been WrstlXtra. You are watching live on the WrestleManiac UK YouTube channel, and of course, you'll be listening on AffinityExtra.com. I'm your boy ADazzle. Just to kill the kayfabe, my real name is Adrian Howe. Just so you know that as well. Just so there's no confusion there. And this guy is Mekz. I believe his real name is actually Mekz. I don't even know. Actually,
I would give you guys my full name, but because I'm Nigerian, we'll be here until next week, so it's too long. So Mekz is good. You guys call me Mekz. We'll keep it as that.
Oh my gosh, folks! You can find us on Twitter, on Instagram, at the same places you can see our names on the screen. If you can't see that, is Black Wrestling Alliance and WrestleManiac UK, both Twitter and Instagram. Folks, this has been our show. We'll be back next week, probably with different names. So join us then. See you later, people.
Take care, guys.